Okay, if you are analyzing a large number of pesticides, or the analyte of interest are pH dependent, okay, you can it's good for you to use the buffer extraction kit. And if you are only interested in several compounds, or the target compounds are not pH dependent, you can always go for the non-buffered kit. And of course, the non-buffered kit is slightly cheaper compared to the buffered kit. And we also have two specific analysis for veterinary drug in animal origin food, and also acrylamide in fried food. Okay, the kits, okay, it comes with pouches with salt and buffer, and also include the tubes, and not forgetting the ceramic homogenizer. I would strongly recommend you to get this, okay, the ceramic homogenizer, okay, as it will increase your recovery when you're doing the extractions. For the adjuvant dispersive kits, it contains the tube with pre-wet SPE solvent. Okay, and we also have kits available for different food types. Again, if you need to comply to AOIC, you just get the AOIC method, the AOIC DSPE tubes, and if you need to comply to EN, go for the European dispersive kit. And other than that, we also have different type of dispersive kit. Like if you are dealing with high pigment, okay, high fats, then we can talk about this in more detail. So you need to send us your information, and we can advise you after this. Right now, I just going to bring you through a method on the 203 target pesticide in food. So this is our app notes, and this is the summarize of the method, the sample prep method. So what you are going to do in your lab is quite straightforward. Okay, basically you just follow this, and you need to weigh 35 gram samples of tomato and spike with 203 pesticide standards. And other than that, you use the catches, followed by the catches. 10 gram portion of the sample was weighed into the 50 ml PTFE tube, followed by you add 10 ml of acetonitrile, okay, and also 10 microliters of the 10 mg per kg surrogate. Shake for 4 minutes. You add 4 grams of magnesium sulfate, 1 gram of sodium chloride, and 1 gram of trisodium citrate dihydrate, 0.5 gram of disodium hydrogen citrate sesquiterhydrate. Shake for 4 minutes before you centrifuge at 3,500 RPM for 5 minutes. Then the solvent action took place, where 50 microliters of the extract was evaporated and reconstituted with 50 microliters of ethyl acetate. All right, and for processing the samples, okay, we have this is for the SPE. Okay, we also have a good selection of vacuum manifolds and also the positive pressure manifolds. And of course, you look at the right side, we have our positive pressure manifold, which I mentioned earlier. This is for the cartridge type, and this is for the well plate type. And just now, I also mentioned about the Elute 20. Other than that, we also have the SPS 24 vacuum manifold. Sample containment, okay, is basically valves. Valve is actually very important, and it's I can say that it's a low-cost consumables, but again, this will cost you a lot of trouble if you are not selecting the right one, or possible if you are recycling. Okay, after you use it, you wash it, okay, and you reuse it again, and sometimes this may possible to cost you even more trouble than getting a new one. Okay, we have customer, they spend time washing the valves. And after that, what do? Okay, you clean it with soap, bacon, and probably after that you need to oven bake it. And then how are you going to make sure that your valves are really clean? Okay, and for this we have different type of formats. Okay, the common one are the 2 mil valves. Okay, either it's come in the clear or amber. It depends on your needs. Okay, if you are working for PVAS, probably you need to go for the PP valves. Okay, and also if you are doing some GC headspace, then you go for the bigger volume. And other than that, we also have storage valves with open top or cross top available in probably a 4 mil, 12 mil, and also 40 mil volume. Some consideration that you need to go through, okay, before you choose the right sample containment. Okay, you need to think that, okay, you need to consider it, because some analytes can be absorbed on the inner wall of the valves or the well plate, resulting in raw recovery. And the material used for valves and plates can also potentially introduce contaminant to the samples. Like if you are doing PVAS, probably you can't use a glass valve. Or if the valves or well plate is not dimensionally compatible with the auto sampler, problem can arise. You may spoil your auto sampler. And the quality of the septa material and plate sealing mats also matters, because some septa and sealing mat can contaminate the sample as well. And if the cap and septa of the sealing mat are not properly sealing, okay, you may have evaporation happening, and again, you result in your recovery, okay, in your result reproducibility. Besides, the needle can also stick to the septum or sealing mat, okay, and leave the valves or plate. This is if you are working on automation. And the needle can also, the syringe needle can also push the septum out of the cap into the valve. Last but not least, coring of the septa or plate sealing mat material by the auto sampler needle can also cause sample contamination, as well as clogging the needle and the needle seat. So these are some of the important consideration that you might want to think of when you are deciding on the valve selection. And not to worry, okay, we have these valve selection tools. And the valve selection tool can be used when selecting the appropriate valves and caps. Okay, down here there's a link. Okay, there's the link here where you can use to get the valve selection tool. Or you can always go to agilent.com, okay, valve patch, and click on the upper right. Okay, this one, get started, and it will take you to the valve selection tools. Other than that, we also mentioned about chemical standards. Okay, now Agilent Ultra chemical standard and certified reference material is available for your workflow. So you can go to this page, okay, and you can just key in whatever you need, pesticide standards. Okay, then it will give you the part numbers. So if you are unable to find the readily made standards, you can always request for customize. Right, the summary for my presentation today is, we went through the purpose and the importance of sample prep. And right now, the selection of suitable sample prep products is here. Okay, it's in this chart. So again, today we are talking about the pesticide analysis. So I would recommend you to go for the bone loop catches. Okay, it can help you to remove the lipids, the particulates, pigments, polar organic acid, protein as well. Okay, this will probably give you 80 to 90 of your recovery. If you need to go for more, okay, probably you need to talk to us again. Then we can recommend you to go for our SPE, the solid phase extraction. And yeah, I think I'm done here, and I'll pass the time back to Nikki. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Ian, for your presentation. And now I would like to pass over to Dr. Zhang Yufeng. Today she'll be sharing with us on the topic multi-residual pesticides analysis in spinach with Agilent GCMSMS.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm Yufeng. Today, I would like to talk about multi-residue pesticide evaluation, 206 pesticides in spinach. I would also like to talk about some tips and tricks for pesticide analysis, including end-night protectant on pesticide analysis to achieve optimum pesticide analysis performance. This pesticide evaluation work was done by my colleague Leipin and myself. Before moving to pesticide evaluation, I would like to talk a bit of pesticide analysis background. As we all know, pesticides are used as crop protection products to increase crop production, ensure safe storage and transportation. However, pesticide residue in food or feed have potential toxicity to human and other species. As a result, global regulations such as EU regulation, China 国标, and US EPA have set the maximum residue levels of pesticide in various food products. For those of you who are doing pesticide analysis, you may understand pesticide analysis is challenging. Firstly, it's because the diversity of the pesticide. There are many kinds of pesticide, including herbicide, insecticide, fungicide, bactericide, and so on. The number of pesticides keeps on growing due to the high demand of new pesticides to treat and prevent crop from pest damage. As a result, more and more pesticides have been added to the monitoring list. Secondly, the food sample matrix is very complex. Food is a very complex matrix with many different commodity groups. Some food samples are high water content, such as apple and pear. Some others are high starch and low water content, such as cereal. These differences add into the challenge of method development. Lastly, it's because of the low limits of detection requirement. It's very difficult to identify and determine the targets and pesticide with low concentration in complex matrices. This drives the laboratory needs towards better sample preparation and more sensitive instruments. To overcome all these challenges, you may expect a more ideal analysis solution with comprehensive GC444 method that covers hundreds of compounds at once, and at the same time, easy to add more new compounds. With robust workflow to produce reliable results, and with high selectivity and sensitivity instrument to meet the maximum residue limits requirement. Agilent provide food solutions to meet the ideal analysis solution as I mentioned just now. Agilent GC444 system offers high detection sensitivity. We also provide the necessary consumables, dedicated sample preparation, pesticide chemical standards, as Yan introduced just now, and also application service to meet food analysis guidelines and laboratory operation goals. Next, I'm going to share the pesticide evaluation work that has been done on Agilent 7000D and 7T10B, as Leipin introduced just now. The objective of pesticide analysis, including the evaluation of detection limits and linearity for multi-residue pesticide analysis, is finished using the two different instrument model, and also evaluate the effect or addition of end-night protectant on detection limits. Let's take a look at the first objective. The food sample that we have used for this evaluation here is organic spinach sample. You may want to know why we select spinach, this kind of food sample. This is because spinach is one of the most common and popular vegetable in the world. And spinach ranks number 2 in the Dirty Dozen list, which means it's the top 2 produce that contains most pesticide residue. Moreover, spinach represents a high pigmentation, complex, and challenging matrix. If pesticides can be detected at a low concentration in spinach, this kind of complex matrix, they have a high chance to be detected in other kind of less complex food samples. As we all know, sample preparation plays a very important role in sample analysis. The right sample preparation is critical for the success of achieving accurate and reliable analysis results. Agilent offers sample preparation products and protocols for nearly all scientific guideline related commodities. As for spinach sample, we have used this special dispersive kit that most suitable for highly pigmented fruits and vegetables, such as spinach, to achieve the best sample preparation result. And also the extraction kit here we have used is an EN extraction kit. After the sample preparation, we get the final blank extract from the organic spinach sample. As Ian introduced just now, Agilent also provides pesticide standards to cater to your need. We not only provide ready-to-use pre-mix standards, but also custom standards. So the 206 pesticides that I have used in my evaluation is are from Agilent. On this slide, you can see from the first table shows the product number of the pesticides that I have used for this analysis. With all these pesticide standards, it covers most of the popular pesticides, including organochlorine pesticide, organophosphorus pesticide, pyrethroid, and carbamate pesticide. The second table shows the preparation of matrix-matched standard solution from 250 ppb down to 0.1 ppb. Stock solution was prepared by mixing of the 12 pesticide standards in table 1 and then diluted with ACN. And then for the individual calibration standards from 250 to down to 0.1 ppb was further prepared by dilution with blank spinach extract. The 4 pesticide lists are shown here in this table in alphabetical order. This table shows the list from pesticide number 1 to number 80, number 81 to number 160, 161 to 206. So that here shows all the pesticides included in my evaluation. Acquisition method creation is based on this Agilent pesticide and environmental pollutant MRM database, as Leping introduced earlier. Some of you may have used and familiar with this database. It contains 4 GC methods available for 1,000 plus compounds method setup. This 1,000 plus compounds including pesticides, PBDE, PAH, and so on. For each compound, there are up to 10 transitions available to cater for different food matrices. It's the largest commercially available MRM database available on the market. with this database, you can also do pesticide screening without pesticide standard. So it's a very convenient tool for pesticide screening. After the method creation from database, MRM transitions and injection mode have been optimized further. The purpose of MRM transitions optimization is to select the most suitable and most abundant MRM transitions for spinach sample. In the database, the injection mode is hot split list. We have compared the results of hot split list and hot pass split list. With these optimizations, we are able to get the best selectivity and the sensitivity performance. This slide here shows how we select the best transitions. Basically, all the transitions from the database for all the pesticides were monitored for 100 spike spinach sample to see the performance of all the around 10 transitions. From the chromatogram, we can see some transitions like this black transition, 108.9 to 81, and this green transition, 91 to 65. All those abundance of these kind of transitions are high. However, they are badly interfered by the matrix, so they didn't show a proper peak. So in this case, we avoid these interfered transitions and select other lower abundance, a bit lower abundance, but more unique transitions to get better selectivity and sensitivity. For injection mode optimization, we found that hot pass split list shows slightly better response performance compared with hot split list. So we continued our evaluation work with hot pass split list injection. After method optimization, the final acquisition parameters are shown here. The injection volume here is 1 microliter. The column we have used is a HD5 MSUI 30 meters column. And the run time is around 20 minutes. The acquisition mode that we have used in this evaluation is DMRM. Some of you have used the GCMS, may be very familiar with this time segment MRM method, but not the MRM. Let me explain a bit more on it. For this time segment setting, on the left, we know that the compound 1, 2, 3 will elute out during the time window 5 to 6 minutes. So we tell the software to monitor all the transitions for all the 3 compounds during the whole time segment window from 5 minutes to 6 minutes. However, for DMRM, what we tell the software is the expected retention time for the 3 individual compounds, and we set a narrow window around the expected retention time. With this kind of setting, it actually offers the advantage of easier method creation, edit, and maintenance. So whenever you tune your column or have done some maintenance for your system, in case there is any retention time change, you can easily update the retention time of your compound. Then you can get update the retention time of the compound, so to make your method suitable for your sample analysis. And also for this DMRM, it measures less compounds simultaneously, so the wear times automatically increase wherever possible. As a result, greater measurement efficiency can be achieved. This is a representative MRM chromatogram of 100 ppb pesticide in spinach. We can see all the 206 pesticides are well distributed within the 20 minutes runtime. It's very often some of you ask me how long the liner should be replaced. I would say it really depends on your cleanliness of the sample and your usage frequency. Here I have shown you how the liner looks like after 100 spinach sample injection. The liner looks very dirty already. Hope this gives you some idea of when to change your liner. So in case your sample is very clean and your usage frequency is very low, it's like every month only several injections, you can use your liner for longer time. However, if a sample is very dirty and you have a very high sample load every day to use the system, in this case, you need to consider to change your liner more frequent. Now let's take a look at the evaluation results. This slide shows the evaluation sensitivity at 10 ppb, which is a common maximum residue limit for most of the pesticides in regulations. For 7010B, all the pesticides except CAPT4 are detected with signal-to-noise ratio above 10. For 7000D, there are 7 pesticides not detected, as you can see from this table, including CAPT4, DIC4, methyl-carb, and so on. Although these pesticides are not being detected at 10 ppb, the EU maximum residue limits for them are actually 20 ppb and above. CAPT4 is not able to be detected at 10 ppb on both systems. This mainly due to CAPT4 is a base-sensitive pesticide. It can degrade at a higher pH or even unstable in acetonitrile itself. So if you have problems in detecting this compound in future, you may consider adjusting pH of your final extract with 0.1% acetic or formic acid to improve the stability. Or you can also consider to use the kind of buffered catcher's kit as Ian introduced just now. We have also evaluated the pesticide performance at a lower concentration of 1 ppb. We can see that 190, which is 92.2% of all the pesticides can be detected at 1 ppb on 7010B. For 7000D, the percentage being detected at 1 ppb is 41.3%. which is lower than 7010B. This shows the better sensitivity of 7010B compared with 7000D. This pie chart here shows the distribution of all the pesticides being detected at down to 0.1 ppb, 0.5 ppb, 1 ppb, 10 ppb, and above on both of the two systems. On 7010B, 44.2% of the pesticide can be detected down to 0.1 ppb, while 99.5% of the pesticide can be detected down to 10 ppb. On 7000D, 1.9% of the pesticides can be detected down to 0.1 ppb. In general, both two systems will meet the 10 ppb guideline regulation requirement for most of the pesticides. Linearity has also been evaluated in the range of 5 ppb to 250 ppb for majority of the pesticides. We have set the starting concentration a bit lower than the commonly regulated concentration of 10 ppb. For a few of the pesticides, due to the duplication in standard mixture that we have used, the concentration range is 10 ppb to 500 ppb. From the table, we can see 100% of the calibration curve on 7010B are linear, while for 7000D, 81.6% of the calibration curve are linear, and the rest are quadratic. This slide shows the R-square performance for all the calibration curve on both systems. All the R-square are above 0.99. And the difference is that most of the R-square on 7010B are closer to 1, and the R-square of 7000D are scattered between 0.99 to 1. The second part of the objective is the evaluation of addition of anide protectant on detection limits. Let's take a look how the results looks like. Some of you may be familiar with anide protectant, and some others are not. So what is anide protectant? Anide protectant actually refers to the compounds that are added to sample extract and strongly interact with the active site in the GC system. As a result, protecting the pesticide compounds against absorption and degradation so that we can achieve better signal response. There are some commonly used anide protectants such as acylglycerol, glutathione, and sorbitol. Ethylene glycerol shows strong signal enhancement for early eluters, glutathione for mid eluters, and sorbitol for late eluters. In our experiment, glutathione and sorbitol have been used for the evaluation. The combination of them actually can cover the full range of the pesticide eluted. This slide shows the addition of anide protectant greatly enhanced the response of pesticide in solvent. It also enhanced the signal response for certain polar pesticides, such as phenol in sample matrix. Based on this information, we also want to see the effect of anide protectant on our evaluation. Here shows how we prepare the anide protectant solution. Firstly, prepare the stock solution of individual sorbitol and glutathione with acetonitrile and water mixture. Then mix the two stock solution and dilute with acetonitrile. And then add the anide protectant to our pesticide samples. The effect of addition of anide protectant for 10 ppb pesticide on the two systems are shown here. With the addition of anide protectant, it improves the detection of CAPT4 on 7010B and massive carb and noxinol on 7000D. So the number of pesticides can be detected on 7010B at 10 ppb increased from 205 to all the 206. For 7000D, the number increased from 199 to 201. Here shows the MRM chromatogram of CAPT4 without and with anide protectant on 7010B. With anide protectant, this compound can be detected with signal-to-noise ratio above 10. Here shows the peak of methyl carb and noxinol. With AP, the two compounds can also be detected at 10 ppb. We have also evaluated the effect of anide protectant at 1 ppb. You can see here with anide protectant, the detection of pesticide at 1 ppb increased from 190 to 191 on 7010B, which is 92.2% up to 92.7% of all the pesticide. On 7000D, the number being detected increased from 85 to 104, which is 41.3% to 50.5%. So to give a conclusion of the 206 pesticide evaluation on both 7000D and 7010B system. In terms of sensitivity, both systems are giving sufficient sensitivity for most pesticides at 10 ppb. More pesticides being detected at 1 ppb on 7010B compared with 7000D. In terms of linearity, excellent curve fitting with R-square above 0.99 was achieved for all the pesticides. With the evaluation of amide protectant, it improves the detection for some specific pesticides at 10 ppb and 1 ppb on both systems. Okay, here comes to the end of my presentation. Now I will hand over to Nikki.
Thank you, Dr. Chang, and thank you all our presenters for the very insightful and informative presentations. And before we move on to the Q&A, just a friendly reminder to download useful resources related to today's webinar in the resource list section on your console. And please also take some time to complete our survey before you exit the event. And after the end of this webinar and upon completion of the survey questions, you will receive a link sent to your email where you can access the recording of today's webinar. And now let's get started with the Q&A. Please note that due to the interest of time, we are not able to answer all the questions, but we will still get back to them via email after the webinar. So let's get going with the first question. For the first question, I believe this one is for Lei Peng. Does Mini SP retard the noise or the background?
Thank you, Nikki. Sorry, I think my camera is having some problems, so I will not be able to turn it on. Okay, so with regards to the Mini SPE, yes, it's definitely a cleanup step that actually helps to reduce the noise. Okay, so with this Mini SPE cartridges, it's actually combining the traditional features of the column SPE. Okay, and it's actually becoming more popular now. Okay, and the particle size in the setup is actually much smaller, okay, probably than the original kind of catches dispersive SPE. So it's able to give us better kind of cleanup performance. Okay, so with a very small flow that we actually deliver using the syringe, so the matrix components are retarded, okay, while the sample of the pesticides and so on are actually being able to be eliminated out. Okay. So this is basically the Mini SPE actually doing the cleanup, okay, to allow us to actually reduce the matrix getting onto the system and allowing us to detect the target pesticides more appropriately. Okay, thank you, Nikki.
Okay, thank you, Lei Peng. Our next question. If I try using the catcher's kit and my recovery is low, only at 50%, how can I improve the recovery?
Okay, this is Ian. I will take these questions. So as you know, catches is a good enough sample prep method. So 50% recovery at the beginning of your method development, I would say is considered on track. And subsequently, you should be able to get probably around 70 to 80%. If you are looking for even higher recovery, like 90% and above, as I mentioned earlier on, please talk to us on this, as this would require a selective method, which is the SPE, the sample, the solid phase extraction method. Send us the details, your interested target compound list, sample matrix, etc. We shall be able to share with you, the more comprehensive technical support, and this will also save you cost and money on your method setup. Thank you for your questions.
Okay, thank you, Ian. Our next question. I'm doing time segment MRM acquisition now. How can I transfer to DMRM?
Okay, I take this question. Actually, transfer from time segment MRM to DM. Convert to DMRM button on the Mass Hunter software. You can easily click the button to convert your time segment method to DMRM method. what you need to do after the click is to update the expected retention time in the acquisition software. So no need manually to do it. You can update it automatically from your time segment acquired data and the quant report of the data.
Okay, thank you very much. Our next question is the last question. At which stage in the sample preparation do we add the analysis protectant? I believe this question is for Dr. Yufeng.
Yes, this question is for me. We add the analysis protectant at the after we have prepared the calibration standard. That means we prepared matrix matched calibration standard. So we have the 250 ppb standard, 0.1 ppb standard, and then we add analysis protectant to the calibration sample. So normally we add the analysis protectant to with the sample at a ratio of 1:25. So after mix with the calibration sample and the analysis protectant, we introduce the mixture to the GCMS system.
Thanks very much, Dr. Yufeng, and also thank you to all our presenters today, Lei Ping, Ian, and Dr. Yufeng. So now we have come to the end of today's webinar. I hope you all enjoyed the experience and have found it useful. Thank you all for your time and participation today. And also thank you once again to our presenters. So until we meet again, have a wonderful rest of the week and stay safe. Thank you again for joining us. Have a great day.